Well, welcome to the Friday Bubble. Today we're doing one of my favourite tasks, which is comparing a bottle to a Magnum. Over the years, I don't know how many times we've done this. One thing that's just flashed through my mind is I think the very first tasting we engaged you, Essi, was a bottle versus Magnum tasting.
That's true.
And I think we might have had these champagnes in that tasting as well. So Champagne Rare is perhaps least known of all the prestige cuvées, and I guess one of the reasons is they haven't actually been doing it very long. 1976 was their first release, and here we are in 2006, and today the release of the Magnum of Rare. What is it, Essi, that sort of is the essence? What is it that makes Rare so unique?
Yes, so, Rare used to be known as the prestige cuvée of Piper-Heidsieck, but nowadays,
Right.
now for a few years already, it's been a brand of its own totally, which I think will really aid giving it that, pedestal it needs, because as you said, the wine is fabulous and it has been, a serial winner in all the competitions for many, many years. So I think that it is quite a unique blend. I don't remember many other prestige cuvée that would be a 70% Chardonnay, 30% Pinot Noir, and it's not the classic Chardonnay of the Côte de Blanc only, but there's also always a Chardonnay from the Montagne de Reims,
Right.
Villa Marmaris, which is a little bit more sort of tropical, spicier, richer. There's more body to it, so there's always this sort of deliciousness, this sort of gourmand feeling to Rare, which is a very, very toasty and very sort of maturely fruity, exuberant champagne.
I think one of the things I learned about Rare very early on was when I went to the winery with you, I would always get confused because you always thought it had a bit of oak contact.
That's true. Yeah, it's the same with many Piper-Heidsieck wines and Charles Heidsieck wines, but that is that long aging with their style. There is no oak used in the making.
And that's, I guess, a bit of, we often call it that smokiness, a bit of reductive quality that comes through. And it's sort of very easy to confuse it with oak, isn't it?
Definitely.
So this has...
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Great bottle. Very, very toasty, super toasty. It's like almost like a dessert. There's like a lot of this sort of candied or fried pineapple.
Right.
This pineapple dessert. A bit of, brown butter.
Yes.
Very, very delicious aromas. Super toasty.
It's really spicy as well.
Yeah, this is like a dessert in the glass.
It is, isn't it?
Gorgeous.
So this was disgorged. The interesting thing is the two disgorgements are a long, long way from each other. So this had 11 years lees aging, disgorged at the end of 18. So, here we are, 4 years on. Let's have I haven't tasted it yet, but...
It really has moved all towards that sort of charred, like bonfire type of aromas. Bonfire and sweet fruit, almost like pineapple candies. Very, very beautiful. I'm actually really happy how the bottle is showing, because the 2006 as a vintage is such a warm year, and sometimes many of the sixes tend to get heavy, too heavy, like not enough acidity. And this is actually showing very, very beautiful now. Totally ready to drink.
Absolutely.
There's no need to keep it. It's really gorgeous and generous right now.
When we go to the winery in the spring and taste their Vin Clairs, we often taste the Vin Clairs from Villa Marmaris. And you mentioned it briefly in your warm-up. It has that, I always say it has that sort of tropical, sort of somewhere between lychees and and this is sort of just like that, isn't
Exactly.
it?
Yeah, lychees is a good word.
Wow. Well,
Very exotic fruit, very fragrant.
and I have to say it's incredibly light. Does that, and I sometimes you worry about 2006's perhaps mature quite fast and get a bit heavy.
Yeah.
There's not a bit of that, is there? In
No. It's beautifully airy and fresh, and in full bloom.
And I kind of wonder with the that's the Chardonnay has really helped it,
Yeah,
because
probably.
it's 2006 and now, not that I've been waiting for this at all, but this is Lee's aged a little bit longer. Now the funny story behind this is 1998 was the previous Magnum, can you believe? which we still have. It's still, there's still a little bit of it around. And they skipped all the way to 2006. And we'd have to ask Regis, the winemaker, quite how that happened. But I think there was a story here, wasn't there, Essi?
Yeah, because it was the previous ownership, and they were not really investing in the brand because they had at the same time they had owned the Krug and Piper-Heidsieck, so there wasn't the focus for Piper wasn't in Rare, and therefore they didn't allow them to make the Magnums, which is a great shame, because if you think of the, say, 2002 Rare, which I give 100 points in bottle nowadays if you get a perfect bottle. Can you imagine what would be the Magnum? 105?
Yes, and I think am I not right that Regis actually bottled a lot more of the 98 than we're.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah.
So he believed in that vintage.
Yeah,
and,
being a bit naughty as he always is. Definitely, yes. I mean, I think the prospects looked better than then, and it was tough to sell it after all. But we are now super happy that they all still have some of those amazing bottles left in the cellar.
I think again, because there's such a chunk of Chardonnay, they seem to have aged they've kept that freshness, haven't they?
Absolutely.
And well, here's the 2006 Magnum. This isn't your first time, I don't believe, Essi.
No, and I certainly know that it's not your first time. I remember once when you had a whole evening of different options, and you kept coming back to this one.
So I've had a sneaky preview of this once or twice before, and one of the things I love about the Rare champagnes is even in the bottles they're really quite reductive. Now you really get this Magnum effect in the Magnums, but you get it sort of fairly big style. This has some of that smoky charm, and I'm guessing this is quite a lot younger, is it?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, if this one is in full bloom, this one is still a bit reserved. Of course, it has already beautiful aromas, a little bit of tropical as well, but not nearly as sweetly fruity as that. There's some tropical fruit like guava and even a bit of banana, which is quite rare to see in champagne, but not nearly as toasty as the other one yet.
Yes.
The toast will come then over time.
And this was disgorged in September 2021, and somehow, Essi, it feels fresher in the acidity. I don't know whether that's...
But I always find that Magnum has that added freshness, even if you think that it can't affect the acidity, the number of the acidity, but it is really the size of the bottle that keeps it so much fresher, that you get this even feeling of more higher acidity.
And the dosage, are they the same dosage, or? I
think there's only 0.5 gram difference with the small bottle being a little bit sweeter.
So the last Magnum you tasted, of course, was 98, the previous vintage. How are you feeling about 98 versus 06 Magnums? Quite different years.
Yeah, very, very different years. I think that, I think this has a great future ahead of it. But it needs still time to start building that amazingness what nowadays the 98 has. It's stunning, such a stunning wine.
Well, as always, we choose a favourite to toast, and I'm not sure. I think the bottle's delicious.
I'm gonna, be very, very strange today. I'm gonna go for the bottle
because it's more. At the moment, it's more complete, isn't it?
Yeah, and this is a perfect. It has had a perfect cork on it. It has held perfectly. There is like no negative development. It's just shining.
This has some of what I call that O2 greatness. The O2 had that. Where you mentioned it a few times, has that toast.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons I used to love that was that sort of toasty, spicy character, and this is reminding me of very much that. It's quite delicious.
It is.
The Magnum effect is really holding that one back, isn't it? It's kind of
it is
squashing it at the moment. I can't believe you're going to choose the bottle.
Yeah, I can't believe that either. Are you going to go for that?
I'm going to go because I think I'm loving the toast on it.
Yeah.
And that's so cheers.
Yes.
Thank you, as always, Essi, and happy Friday. Surprise results. I can't believe I'm choosing a bottle over a Magnum. Cheers, everybody.